It is our weekly conversation with our guy, Adam Cherry. No game this last weekend to break down as we focus ahead here on Pittsburgh, but halfway done here in year one of Fran Brown, Adam. And I'm interested in the idea of spinning it forward here. Back half of the season, we've all known how that's gone here of late. How do you eyeball this team and see the ability for, games 7 through 12 to happen a little differently than they have around here for the last few years?
Yeah, you like what Fran Brown has done, and I think I talked about it last time we were on the air, like how he has command of this team and how they're responding. And the best thing about it is there's guys that have been out that hopefully we get back going into this gauntlet of the next 6 games. And you've played well enough that you make yourself relevant, and now this is the game, in my eyes, that dictates who are you and what are you about, right? Like, you're going to go into a hostile environment down at Acrisure Stadium, and it's going to be a battle in the trenches, unsure footing between the offense and defensive line. Who's going to gain that advantage? And then we know the abilities of both offense and defense that Pitt has. So we're, as far as Syracuse goes, I think they're in a fantastic spot. Now it's almost like getting into the playoffs. Like, hey, you've played yourself into a good spot, and now these next 6 games are an opportunity for you to impress upon the country what type of caliber team you are here, and then as well as going forward.
When you look at this team here, Adam, where do you see the most likely area of improvement here in the last 6 games? What are you looking like? Yeah, I can see them getting better at this, which will help out before the end of the year.
Well, I think if you look at the offense, I feel as though the improvement on the offensive line, they've had their ups and downs. You saw at Stanford when the offensive line wasn't holding up as well as they should, and you saw a guy like Bailey rushing off the edge. That allowed for pressure on McCord, and, we saw how that game transpired throughout the end. So I think the offensive line is one where they can see significant improvement going through this. And what that comes with is the ability in the O-line room and out on the field to pressure individuals to make sure that they're getting better. And if they're not, then, they get relegated down and somebody can surpass them. And then in the offensive run game, the physicality of which ACC really hasn't historically been known as, a slobber knocker like the Big Ten as these offensive lines. But if you can run the football going into the end of October, into November, that's a significant thing. I mean, defensively, I think it's injuries. Who are we going to get back? A guy like Marlowe Wax is they've been able to cover up his inavailability, but now it's an opportunity. If they get him back, 1, it's an emotional lift, and 2, now it allows some of the guys that have been playing too platooned in that role of like, hey, I might be a linebacker, I might be a slot guy, hey, I might be a D end, I might be a linebacker in the realm of Diggs or Barron. Now it allows an emotional leader, a guy to put people in the right place and get going. And I don't know if it's this game, but I think it's going to be in the near future.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that Marlowe has the potential to come back in a game like this.
Yeah, it sounds like potentially this week. We'll see. This is right on the borderline of the time for that was announced, back when he got hurt in the opener. So maybe we get him on Thursday. If not, hopefully for the Virginia Tech game the week after. I'm intrigued. You mentioned Barron here, and I know you do stuff with the Senior Bowl. I saw your guy Jim Nagy, who runs that. He tweeted some film study of Barron after the last game and said, "Man, I've watched a lot of this guy over the years. This is the best I've ever seen him play." Now that's at linebacker, so I find that interesting because I kind of also agree. That was in my mind the best I've seen Justin play. How do you handle this situation if and when you get Marlowe back? Now that Justin's there at linebacker, we know Fran has shown he's all for getting his best guys on the field. How do you think they merge that all together going forward?
Well, I think it's an opportunity to walk a guy in and out of the box, right? Now if you feel comfortable with him, is he matching up on that tight end? Is he in the box against run? He's shown that he can come down and be physical and make some plays. So what it does is allow Syracuse and Elijah Robinson, the defensive coordinator, the opportunity to have more flexibility flexibility, right?
Yeah.
You saw that Diggs can stand up and put his hand in the dirt. Now if Barron can, play the slot, come down, play the tight end, and then also be in the box for run support, that's a luxury that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, and especially with the the defensive line issues, right? With guys being out for the year, you certainly need some help up front, even if it's not necessarily guys that are playing up front. I do mention Murad Watson, who's a freshman defensive tackle, has played a ton. He was on a midseason All-American team the other day. What have you noticed about him and these young guys in the middle of the line? Because that's not usually an easy role to play right out the box as a true freshman.
No, I mean, that's a tough go, but they were recruited. They were recruited to come here and specifically for him to play in this style of defense. And then the other guy that I have grown to really like and what his capabilities are and the upside is Perry as well. Mm-hmm. The defensive lineman out of Bennett and Buffalo. Those two right there, it's a bright future for this defensive line. And especially with Watson being so young and being able to get into the mix. And the biggest thing is you don't see this drastic drop-off, right? You've got some older guys that are now out of the lineup, and now you've got some young guys that, it's going to take them a little bit of time to acclimate to the style of how college football is. Like you might have played offense and defense in high school, but now it's 100 miles an hour. You're a defensive guy. This is your package. These are how many reps you expect to get in a game, and can you play like your hair's on fire? And if that's the case, and it continues with Watson and Perry, I think it's you have found guys that now you can support through the portal later on in providing depth for those young individuals.
Yeah, two true freshmen that, who knows in the age of the portal, right? But you might have the anchors of your D-line for a hot minute here going forward. And then we got Adam Terry with us, our weekly Monday visit. Fidel Diggs, willingness to be versatile this year. A lot of DNs, stand up outside linebackers, whatever you want to call what Fidel has done at various points this year. Their job is to go get the quarterback, and that is, at the next level, that's how you make your money, right? But Fidel has shown the willingness to do so many other things. It feels like he's willing to support those guys in the middle, do this, do that, and do whatever. How important has that been to, the functionality of the other young guys up front?
Well, it allows for it allows for Elijah Robinson to plug guys in where he needs them and if he needs them. You're not trying to rotate one guy in and out in order to cover up for weaknesses. Diggs has the athleticism, he has the length, he has the speed, and this is just one of those auditions for what he's going to be capable of doing on Sunday. And whether that's a 4-3 or whether that's a 3-4. He has shown that he is probably one of the best to do it throughout the nation right now. And it's fun to watch because I don't think we've seen the best of Diggs as he's in and out with him. I think if you look at him, he has the ability to stop the run in this 4-2-5, and he's also been able to stand up and play linebacker when they go into a 3-3 type stack. But it's an awesome opportunity for him, and all he's doing is showcasing his talent for this next level. And I think for Syracuse, he's a heck of a player, and he's growing into a leader. And when they're back healthy, I'm truly excited to see what this defense can get done.
I think certainly at the next level, and there will be a next level for Fidel, the versatility will serve him well, I would imagine, going forward. As we got Adam Terry, where we always talk on this Monday, and here comes Pitt. We mentioned a little last week, Adam. This feels like, and the more I've thought about it, it feels even more like the biggest Cuse Pitt game in a long, long time. We saw earlier today, ACC kind of punted on future TV times because they want to see the results of this and some other games in the league this weekend. How important is this game not only to these teams, Adam, but to the ACC as we enter the back half of the season?
Well, it's huge, right? I think for Syracuse to show that they're a viable option going down the stretch, I'm excited about it. I've said it all year. If you can keep number 6 on his feet, Kyle McCord is the real deal. And as he kind of ascends up through the history books at Syracuse, that just continually is solidified day in or week in and week out. So I like that and what it is for Syracuse. Now they have the opportunity to make even more meaningful games going down the stretch. But for the ACC, you look at Miami. Miami's on top, and they had a little blemish, with that really tight game against Cal, and they're playing a couple games tight. But I think this is showing the parity within what the ACC now is, with a team like SMU coming in and them being brought in this year and having the opportunity to show what they're capable of doing. But I like this game most importantly because it's an old Big East backyard brawl kind of deal. I think backyard brawl gets brought into what it is for West Virginia Pitt, but this is backyard in the sense of these are the kids that they're going to all recruit. This is a recruiting battle first and foremost. It's just going to be, in my eyes, you're going to have to be able to establish the run, but you're also going to have to be able to throw the football. So this is a good mix for what Syracuse is and what they're capable of doing. But this offensive line is going to face some pressure, and I'm really excited to see this matchup of this Pitt D line against Syracuse's offensive line. And I think in the trenches is where this game is going to be won and lost.
Yeah, and you send Willis, he was going to go to Pittsburgh. Fran shows up, and immediately he comes here. So mix that into the to the whole idea of running the ball. I think that'll be fascinating, this game. Obviously, LaQuint Allen will be heavily involved as well. What do you make of this Pitt team? I watched the Cal game, whenever it was, a week and a half ago, and it was just kind of this, it was like an old-fashioned Pitt slugfest game, but you look at all their other games and they were playing kind of these crazy shootouts. Which do you think is the real Pitt team as we get ready for Thursday night?
I think they have the capability of running the football when it gets nitty gritty, and with the quarterback situation, Holstein being able to pull the trigger back there. I think they're very similar to what Syracuse is, right? You have the ability to run the football if necessary, but then you have the quarterback that if you just need to swing it around and get up on people, you have the capability with that quarterback position.
Holstein, the transfer out of Alabama, redshirt freshman, they put up some points in the Cincinnati and West Virginia wins they had earlier this season. That is for darn sure. All right, man, enjoy the trip down there on Thursday. We'll see what happens Thursday night. We'll talk to you again next Monday, but thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Have a good one.